Singapore. My name is Kevin Lam. I'm the co-founder of Twitch. We think of ourselves as live social video. We started with gaming. We focused our entire platform around the global gaming community, and we've since shifted a lot into other categories, other genres of content outside of games. And so I'm here to talk with you about how that's impacted our business and how we think it's impacting video more broadly. So in 2008, we were a live video site called Justin TV, a free site for anybody to use, built around this guy right here, Justin Khan, streaming his life 24/7 on the internet, which was a questionable idea, but we did it anyway. And then we started playing StarCraft 2 when that came out in 2010. We stopped working as hard. We were playing this video game all the time, but what we realized is we were watching other people play on YouTube. We were watching on-demand videos of pro players being commentated by folks like Husky StarCraft and HD StarCraft, and we were becoming obsessed with the game. And we realized that, we've been doing this basically our entire lives. We were the Nintendo generation. When we went to our neighbor's house or our friend's house, we were waiting our turn to play. And so we thought, maybe we really could turn our product into something that feels like that experience, feels like that friendly communal experience, watching games together while we waited our turn. And so we launched it, and this is the basic experience. So it's live video with chat.
The Redskin, dude.
Seems simple, but there's a streamer here playing Fortnite, and there's chat just going by. There's emoticons, there's questions being asked. He's responding to questions in chat. Chatters are talking to each other, and every now and then he might even play a game with his fans, which is a pretty rare experience in general from a spectator experience. I'll talk more about that later. And so we think about it as a virtual campfire for creators. It's a place to hang out. Twitch was a gamer hangout spot for gamers around the world globally to both demonstrate themselves through content creation, live video, and also to just hang out, chat, watch, play together. And flash forward now to today, we're one of the most engaged platforms in the world in general. 20 million people come to the site every single day and spend 2 hours per day watching Twitch content. That's about half of your average television viewing time for people that watch television around the world. And why is it so engaging? You think about the attention economy, as they call it. Time, desire, experience, and means. People have time generally to watch something. That's your entertainment time. That's your unwinding time, whatever you want to call it. Desire, there's tons of gamers around the world that want to connect around gaming more and more these days, particularly as it's become, honestly, more acceptable to be a gamer, to talk about being a gamer. And games have become more and more global as infrastructure around the world and broadband around the world makes that multiplayer gameplay online possible. And then the experience. What does it feel like? Why is it exciting? Why do I want to spend whatever free time I have doing this thing? And then the means. How do I consume this content? For us, it's free. It's available through apps, your phone, PC, tablets, etc. So it's really easy to get access to this content. But it's also happening right now, and that's why it's so engaging. It's live. Versus an on-demand experience, you feel like you have the potential to impact what's going on in the stream. And in fact, that's one of the core interactive experiences on Twitch is if you say something in chat, the broadcaster might answer a question. Sometimes we see broadcasters actually almost act as therapists for their fans. Someone will ask, oh, I just broke up with this girl, what do I do? And Ninja or some of these top streamers will actually talk through a similar experience that they had, and they're there for you like a friend would be. And so there's a fundamental difference between that live feeling, the feeling of being there whilst other people are doing something, being there for those moments that are unfolding, that is very different than on-demand content. And there's something for everybody. On Twitch, there are tens of thousands of channels live any given moment. Some channels that have hundreds of thousands of viewers where chat feels almost like a crowd noise, like being amongst other people, just cheering. There are smaller channels where it feels more conversational. It feels like a small, tight community that you can get to know everybody in. And then there's hundreds and thousands of games being represented at any given time. And now beyond that, we've got categories like Twitch Creative, which is all about streaming the artistic process. Whether you're a painter, a digital artist, a musician, you can stream that. We also have IRL, which is just people just going about their daily lives, like a live vlog. And it's personal and flexible. So as a streamer, you can take on whatever persona you want. You can be yourself. You can be a character. You can really figure out how you want to demonstrate what it is you want to demonstrate through your stream. And you can craft your own experience. So as a fan, do you want to learn how to become a better player in League of Legends? Do you just want to be entertained? Do you want to laugh? Do you want to play games with somebody? There's everything in between. So there's a lot of different content. There's a lot of different content creators, content creator personality types that you can latch onto as a fan. And you're watching real people. It feels like a celebrity that is very accessible. It almost feels like they're not a celebrity. Imagine if you could play a scrim game or a practice session with your favorite basketball player, your favorite soccer player. You can do that realistically on Twitch, where you might only be able to interact with LeBron James on Twitter, hoping that maybe he replies to your tweet. You can actually just sit there watching them, seeing them, hearing what they're thinking, what they're doing, how they're playing their game or practicing their craft. And there's a depth of relationship there that you get on this live interactive video experience that is hard to replicate except for in real life. And so why do people do this? It's a free site. It's free to use, free to watch, free to broadcast. But there's this whole creator economy around this. This is not a new concept. There are plenty of sites out there that help creators earn revenue from advertising or from direct user payments. The way we've approached it is choice of economics. We have advertising. You can earn money from advertising. But we wanted to go expand beyond that. Not everyone wants to necessarily queue in ad breaks throughout their shows. This is creator feedback we got. So we built a number of additional options. So again, just overemphasizing the fact that it's free to use, free to watch. People still subscribe to this content at $5 per month. That benefits the creators directly. And that allows those creators to build their careers on creating content. But they don't need to. They can actually watch the content for free, yet they're willing to subscribe. And the reason why they're doing that, and the reason why we have another product we call Bits, which is a virtual good that you can use to give to a creator during interesting moments during a broadcast. Let's say an epic play happens, or they say something particularly funny, you can use a bit. You can cheer, we call it the activity cheering, and you're giving them a bit which translates into real dollars for that creator. Again, you don't need to do this. It's free. You literally can consume this content for no money, but it's patronage. It's because people really develop these strong relationships with these streamers, whether it's an aspirational relationship or a friendly relationship or just the feeling of, this is my favorite entertainer. I want this entertainer to be able to live this dream of being a content creator and doing this full time. So people are contributing. This is patronage. And we're building additional products around that concept. But it's also one of those things that we discovered over time that, wow, okay, if you have this depth of relationship with a creator, when creators are as exposed as they are, so to speak, as in you feel like you can get to know them, an entire new set of commercialization opportunities opens up. And so we've expanded that into things like merchandise, easy merchandise, print-on-demand T-shirts, for instance, and game sales. And we have Twitch Prime. Twitch Prime allows you to subscribe to a channel. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, you get a free subscription token for a channel. So you can just give that to your favorite channel every single month. And that's real money. So this concept of this creator economy, it's free to create content, to reach a global audience. This is global. You have a broadcast platform that is free to use to reach anyone across the globe. That is supported by both advertising, but also now by fans. And this is still a very nascent thing. This has only really existed on the internet for a short period of time. So we're very excited to see how this evolves across the industry. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the future. What are we doing? Not just us, not just Twitch, but where do we think this whole concept of live video can evolve, particularly considering interactivity? So we're pushing that. We're trying to figure out games, as I mentioned earlier. We're trying to figure out other categories as well. What are those adjacent categories that are interesting to gamers, but also are big categories around the world where interactivity and that live experience is crucial. So this is a really close example. So we long talked about, well, what if you had games that were like the Hunger Games, where while you're watching someone play, while you're watching a competitive mode, you can go in, spend money, and affect the gameplay. Wouldn't that be cool? Now, that's not only cool, that's a whole new economy paradigm for game developers. Not only now, it's not just the player that can transact. Now, whatever fans they have, the audiences that they have, can also transact during a game. That's a whole different economy for a game developer. So this is one example called the Darwin Project, which is almost exactly that. It's like Hunger Games. You'll see what's happening now is they have what they call there's a game show host, and he's now made this player invincible. The audience can vote for weapon drops or negative buffs or nerfs for a player during a game. They can pay for an entire zone of the map to catch on fire. So they're actually impacting how these players are playing the game. Now we're going to flip completely out of games into the categories we started. So this just happened. This is one of those things that just randomly happened on our website that we thought about. It caused us to think about what we can do in other genres. So this guy, Piano Impro Man, he's like a virtual jukebox. So people pay $1 and ask for a song, and he plays it, improv. And he's actually quite talented. But to give you a sense of how deep the relationship is with creators, Bernie's his name. He had a pipe burst in his house, and water was like flooding from the ceiling. And the audience actually got together almost immediately and put together a few $1,000s and sent it to him so that he could fix his pipe, so he could get back to streaming and get back to entertaining them. That's how strong these communities are. We then tested other music. So we decided, okay, well, if it works for one dude in his house with a piano, what if we tried some concerts? What would that experience look like? And so we got Aoki to stream one of his concerts from Spain. And if you look at chat, I don't know, yeah, you can see it. It's like little virtual dance emoticons. And that was a new thing. We never saw that before. We never really saw people just copy pasta that so aggressively in chat to kind of demonstrate the fact that, hey, I'm right here dancing along with you. It feels like, from a chat perspective, it feels like you're there. But importantly, chat feels like it's part of the content. As you're watching it, it's kind of more fun to just see, like, what are other people doing while they're watching something? Why do they find it so entertaining, and what are they saying? So we took that experience, and about 3 years ago, when we launched Twitch Creative, which was a category I mentioned earlier about streaming the artistic process, we thought, well, the timing really works out. It's almost Bob Ross's birthday. I don't know if you guys know about The Joy of Painting, but it was a public access show, free show, that taught you how to paint. And we showed this from season 1, episode 1 to fruition, all the seasons of Bob Ross's Joy of Painting. And we created this weird cultural phenomenon. 6 million people. So our audience is 18 to 34. It's a millennial audience. Most of them don't know that this show even existed. They didn't know who Bob Ross was. 6 million people watched this show. The Bob Ross Foundation made more money from advertising during this 1 week period than they made from other on-demand platforms over the last couple of years. They sold more painting palettes after this marathon than they also had in several years. And then now you see things like Bob Ross Chia Pets. So all of a sudden, this dude who hasn't been around for 30 years is part of pop culture again, of youth culture. They know Bob Ross. We got emails after the show saying, hey, please turn that back on. We can't sleep anymore. And so we're like, okay, what do we do with this? This is basically demonstrating that we can just take old TV content and show that. And so we continue to do that. We did Power Rangers, we did Doctor Who, we're doing a Pokemon marathon right now. But now I'll skip back to just this point on like the flexibility of the platform and why it's so personal. Why do people like using Twitch so much? You can stream like I showed you in the first video. You just have a webcam on yourself. You're talking to the audience. This guy decided to turn himself into a cartoon. So he's actually live, and he's using Adobe Character Animator to convert himself, transform himself into Scribbly.
Oh shit!
This is the day that he gets his partnership. So you have to apply for partnership. It's free to use, but if you want to make money, you have to become a partner. And you can see just how excited he is. Here's another person who decided to be a Muppet instead of a human. And so I just love that these types of things happen on Twitch, but it really allows you to flex and think about what kind of entertainer do you want to be? What do you really want to demonstrate for your fans? How do you want to connect with them? So it's really cool the types of innovation that we see on site. This is live, right? Usually you see Muppets and they're like, it's scripted. But he's just doing this, and he's learned how to become very intensely interactive, to respond to cues from the audience really quickly.
If I had the song, C would be for chicken wing.
Uh-oh. We're stuck on the Muppet.
Likes my eyebrow.
Okay. And then other weird stuff like this happens. So someone hooked up 2 Google Homes to talk to each other and stream this. This actually happened during CES 2 years ago. And I think my favorite headline in the news was some maniac is allowing 2 Google Homes to talk to each other on Twitch. And they talk about love, they talk about God, they talk about all kinds of things that make you kind of wonder about AI a little bit. But what was cool is this all kind of ties into what's the future for this? Like, can traditional entertainment companies take a live experience? We've seen folks do similar interactive content like Choose Your Own Adventure. We've seen plenty of shows that are Choose Your Own Adventure A or B forks on Netflix, on YouTube, on other platforms where the audience just gets to pick, but the content creator is actually making all these forks of content. So you have an end result of 248 or so outcomes, and you have to film all that. It gets really expensive. This guy, Bernie Su, he's a director. He made a couple of shows on YouTube that won Emmys. He's doing a show. It's a live scripted sci-fi show with audience interaction. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense when you think about it, but in practice, it's actually super cool. What they do is they script it, so they have an overarching story, but during the show, you can see in the bottom, I'll play the video in a second, you can see in the bottom right corner, the audience is actually answering polls that define canon for the character. And so in this case, it's what should father get me for my birthday? And the audience voted for a musical instrument. Now, all of a sudden, the rest of the show in the rest of the series changes based on these big decisions. But she also answers questions from the audience. Now, the whole premise of the show is this is an android who's going through the Turing test on Twitch. So after the 16 weeks of this show, her personality becomes defined, and then she goes to school in the next season. And by then, she's now from a basic android to a full personality that has to start to interact with the rest of society.
I should be able
You can't really hear the audio, unfortunately.
I want to decide who I
But
am.
really cool things like this are happening where it's not just using live interactive content, using our platform to figure out new ways to define paradigms. There are actually fully new formats of content that are being developed
is
on our
something
platform
I
now
must
that
do
are both
alone.
interactive, that are
barely
really leaning into
understand
the
the
culture of games and all the adjacency around games. But that's what we're super excited about. Where else can we take this platform now that we know it's interactive? There are actual real good commercialization options out there. So what is it really? Just to recap really quick, is it the living room? It feels kind of like that. It feels like you're there, even if you are solo, watching by yourself in the safety of your own home. It still feels like there are other people around you. You probably see quote unquote familiar faces. You see familiar handles in chat, people that you connect with on chat through IMs when you're not watching, but it feels like you're watching with friends. But what you do can impact the show, whether that's superficial, as in you might get a shout out from your favorite streamer for donating or for subscribing, which is a very frequent thing, a frequent interaction you see between broadcasters and viewers. It's, thanks for the support. Thank you for supporting me as a content creator. But it also can actually, you can change the outcome in such a way where you actually become part of the show. You might play a game with that broadcaster. In the case of artificial, you might actually influence the direction of a show. And there's real money here, and that's really important, especially for all you startups out there. You got to figure out how to, you got to figure out a business model. It's okay to make money, and in our case, when we make money, creators make money, and that perpetuates this whole creator economy that's being developed around the world on several different platforms. But for us, it's through the business models I mentioned. We're always trying to think of new innovations there. What else can we add? What other interesting particularly interactive ways of making money can we add to the platform that help creators around the world make money? And so we think of it as a new way to TV. It's fun, it's interactive. You can take, as we've seen, you can literally take existing TV content, put it on Twitch, and somehow, because of chat, because of other interactions that we have, people have more fun with it. People are much more engaged. Remember, 2 hours a day is a lot of your time. And so how can we apply this format to other verticals, other categories of content? So thanks. Enjoy the rest of Slush. Yeah. Peace.